In favour of individual values, the first point I'd like to raise regards the power of one's upbringing on the frameworks that they use for ethical decision making throughout their life. I'd like to draw from the Keep It Real videos and DSO to further this point. The individual who committed the crime, we'll call him Mr. X for the purpose of this video, repeatedly states that he knew he should have left the organisation and got out, but just never managed to do it. Early on in his time with the organisation, Mr. X attempted to change the prevailing unethical culture but did not have the courage to speak up or otherwise act in defiance. He says that he wishes he'd bit the bullet and left to find a new job, but he lacks the courage to do this, and the longer he stayed in the organisation, the deeper and deeper he was getting into a situation he did not want to be in. This inability to say no to people eventually led to Mr. X paying a massive price. However, this price was ultimately paid because of a shortfall in his personal values. These values he developed as he was raised throughout childhood by adolescent friends and family. Consider the following. When Mr. X was growing up, he was always relied upon by his father more than any of his siblings to help out with a task or fix a problem that someone had. Whenever something was wrong, it was, well, let's just ask Mr. X because he will do it or he will fix it. And unfortunately, Mr. X just never learned to say no. The same problem was still occurring while he was at the organisation where he committed the crime. At this job, he was situated within 15 minutes of all his family members and become somewhat of a gopher for many of them, as he was always the one who had to go pick someone up or run an errand for someone, but still he was never able to say no to them. It's quite obvious that Mr. X believes he always has to please others, and when this translated into the workplace, his life started spiraling out of control. Mr. X began embezzling money in the company as others there were also involved in similar activities. Clearly, Mr. X got himself into a situation he did not want to be in, and had he been confident and bitten the bullet like he said he should have at the start, then none of this would have happened. When examining people's actions and values and how they translate into the workplace, we must keep in mind that everyone is brought up to respond to circumstances in a different way. Some people will come across unethical situations like Mr. X did within the workplace and immediately try to resolve the situation or remove themselves from it. Others, like Mr. X, may not have the confidence to do anything about it. And then there are others who are out there looking for an unethical situation to take advantage of. Regardless of what their actions and responses are to an unethical situation, I think when looking at how much Mr. X's upbringing has affected how he acts within the workplace, there is a great argument to make that values one lives their life by have a huge effect on their decision making in the workplace. Another point that I would like to illustrate is how an individual's personal situation can greatly affect their ethical decision making in the workplace. I will again draw from the Keep It Real videos to make my next point. Peter Day, who is one of the experts in the videos, states that one of the reasons that many people commit white-collar crimes is due to pressure from their personal life. This point is also reiterated by Stuart Palmer, another one of the experts. Peter goes on to say that had these pressures not been there, then they may have acted in a completely different way. On a KPMG survey done in 2010, it was found that of internal perpetrators caught committing fraud, 83% of them were earning less than $100,000, and the typical perpetrator was male and 38 years old. While this is not true for all perpetrators, I think it would be safe to say that many males who fit into this bracket would be in the early stages of starting up a family. Just to put this into an example to help further the point. Let's say you were a father earning less than $100,000 a year and were late on a loan repayment with a wife at home and young kids to support. A work colleague presents you with an opportunity to commit fraud. You know it's illegal, but it would provide you with financial assistance that would greatly improve your personal life. While there would be many people who would immediately refuse such an offer, it would be naive to say that there would not be plenty of people who would greatly consider an opportunity like this. People will make unethical decisions for an array of reasons. People's personal lives can create immense pressure for individuals, and when an individual is faced with an ethical dilemma, I think there are a lot of individuals out there who will justify making an unethical decision if it meant creating a better life for themselves and their family. When your personal life is the most important thing to you, then it is no wonder that many people make unethical decisions for what they consider to be more important. I feel that the points I've made give strong evidence that ethical decisions one makes are greatly influenced by the values that they have. While they are not the sole reasons for ethical decision making, I think that they provide the strongest influence of all potential factors. I'll now hand the debate over to Nick. Thank you.